Hi, my name is Aileen Duncan, and it's kind of hard to say who I am. My background is African, Indigenous, Canadian. I'm really proud of my heritage. I've come to the Cayuga Museum to learn out more about my family. I like to know more about who my family is, who's related to the Duncans, and how we go back to the streets. As a young kid, I remember my mom and dad and my grandfather piling us into a car, and we often took treks out to Canfield, out to Cayuga. We're going to go see Uncle Charlie. And I remember my grandfather saying that his mother was Lucy Street, but I didn't really know the connection. But we're told if you're not on your best behavior, we're not going to stop at Hewitt's going home. Hey Karen, how are you?
Hi, how are you? Welcome.
Thank you.
So I've got a few things out here for you. I thought I'd give you a little bit on some of the early history of Canfield, and then I thought we'd take a look at some street family documents that I found for you. So
Great.
Have a seat.
Thank you.
Since it was a farming community, I wanted to give you a little look at what you probably would expect to see in some of the farms that were in the outlying areas of Canfield. It was really an agricultural community.
Karen, I just wanted to share a couple of things with you. A couple of years ago, my former employer, Canada Revenue Agency, asked me if I could do a presentation at work during the lunch hour on Black history. And I actually chose my family connection from Canfield.
Awesome.
And I was able to dig out some pictures of my actual family. These are actually the children of Ed Duncan Sr.
Wow.
And what I find really interesting, this is my Uncle Ed and my Uncle Dave.
Mm-hmm.
My Uncle Dave died at a very young age, but the two of them share a grave
Oh.
with his wife, and
Okay.
his wife is actually related to Joseph Brand.
Oh.
And this is my grandfather, Fred, and his sister, Gladys, and they share a grave.
Wow. So his wife was related to Joseph Brand.
Yeah.
How fascinating is that? That's another whole component
It
of the story, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Wow. So I have a few pictures out here I thought you really might find interesting because there are a lot of pictures of the early stores and businesses and school. And I actually have a school picture here, and it has some of the Duncan family in it. There's Fern Duncan and Grace Duncan and Jean Duncan are in that picture, which is really cool. And that's SS number 3, North Cayuga School.
This display of Charles Duncan. Karen, as a little girl, we used to come out to Cayuga to see Uncle Charlie. I really don't recognize him. Can you tell me a little bit more about him?
Oh, absolutely. Charlie was pretty famous here in Cayuga. This is actually a picture of him in his World War I uniform. He was part of the 114th Haldeman Battalion. And the one thing he always wanted to do was go to the front. He wanted to go on the front line. But he was over 45 years old, and that was considered pretty old to do that at that time. So he was always a little bit upset about that. But what was interesting was Colonel Thompson, who was his commanding officer, wrote a letter home, and he said that Charlie had done more for the morale of the 114th Battalion soldiers than if he'd been in every battle at the front. So I thought it'd be really nice to show you on the map, of course, this is where Canfield is. You'll see your ancestor Stephanie Street, and that's the land that he owned. We believe he owned it around 1863 because it's also on the 1863 map as well. So not only did your ancestors own property, they were also listed on the 1886 voters list. So if you follow this down there, you'll just come to your ancestors and you can see that they voted in that election. I also found a couple of land documents, which I think are really interesting. This was one for Thomas Street, but it's a land ownership document telling you where their property was. So now this last little piece of information that I have for you is really interesting.
History of the Street Family, donated by William Barnes, Cayuga, August 24th, 1935. My mother was born in Parkersboro, West Virginia, in 1813. Her father's name was Arian Kennedy, and her mother's name was Mila Canada. Mother had 2 brothers and 1 sister. Their owner's name was Barnes Beckworth, he being the son of an English gentleman by the name of Sir Jonathan Beckworth. Mother often said that they were not treated like slaves, but she could not bear the thought of not belonging to herself, especially with 3 children. They were all very kind, but that did not suffice. Father belonged to another man, Billy Neal. Father left his masters about 6 weeks before Mother and the children followed him, her 2 brothers and a fellow servant named Nero Bansom, he being so white in complexion that he would venture out to the nearby houses to seek aid while we lay in hiding place, while he found friends until we arrived at Astabulia. There we got on board a schooner and landed at Port Abino, settled in the neighborhood of Birdie. Then Mother advertised for Father, and he came at once. In a short time we moved near St. Catharines, and on a farm of one Peter Smith. There they were converted and baptized by one elder Christian of Toronto, and became a member of the Zion Church in St. Catharines. So in time they moved to the Grand River with the intention of making a home there. And here they found the same God that had brought them from the land of bondage, and in that humble cabin they erected an altar to the Almighty God, to whom they served with 4 others, John Taylor, Rosina Allen, Robert Bailey, and Kissy Allen. Then at the age of 19, Mother and Father were married. He was 26 years old. Wow. That's incredible. My mind is absolutely blown, and just learning more about my family history with the Streets and as well as with the Duncans. There used to be 137 blacks here in Canfield. Where are they at now? And I hope that as they left, and wherever they settled in Canada or down in the States, that they're talking about their history.
Last fall, we had a street cemetery site visit with the owner and Haldeman County and descendants of the Street family. It is in very bad shape. It's been abandoned since 1943. And then we had that meeting at the Canfield Hall. I was pleased to see the reaction from those who were around that table. More respect needs to be given to this cemetery.
Hello. Hello. Have a chair.
Oh, thank you.
I made up packages for the municipality and for the Ontario Historical Society and for the BAO. In correspondence with them over the last year and a half, it appeared that they had some problems with finding out who owned the property. So last week, I received a letter from Michael DeMello. He is the Deputy Registrar. The Bereavement Authorities of Ontario has discussed the matter of licensing, maintenance, and reasonable access with the legal counsel for the landowner and the land in which the cemetery is situated. We have reestablished the communications and hope this matter will be settled to the satisfaction of all parties, the community, and that the cemetery will be licensed, maintained, and protected in perpetuity. We have reached that hurdle now that we're on to the next step, and this is, I think, what do we do?
They want time to allow the municipality and the owners or their legal representative to come to grips with their responsibilities.
My name is Janie Cooper Wilson. I am the co-chair of the Cemetery Preservation and Defense Committee for the Ontario Historical Society. In the old days, there were cemeteries on family properties. You buried your loved ones out in the back 40. But then, kids move off. Kids want the bright lights in the big city. Mom and Dad pass away. And there's the farm property sold. And the cemetery is still there. The loved ones are still there. Joe Blow that buys it doesn't care. Then you end up with families getting upset. and it's a family's right to pay their respect to their loved one.
They don't want somebody to take the property away from them. I think somebody has to sit them down and go, look, you can go column A or column B, but
You can play
Those are your
softball
two-
or you can play hardball.
those are your two choices.
That's right.
You don't have a column C whereby you just sit there and you
That's
do
right.
nothing.
I personally would like to see it saved, but how much time is time?
They have had
Oh,
long
absolutely.
enough.
Yeah, a lot of us did
A
not
lot,
know.
a lot. Wouldn't
Like, we
know.
used to come out here as young kids, but we never knew that the cemetery was there.
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
That happens a lot. This isn't unique. This isn't a unique situation.
I think there is a little bit of racial prejudice involved here. The reference to Ruthven, whereby, you know, those are rich white people. And I mean, they were filthy rich compared to anybody living in Canfield, black or white. And it's now, deservedly so, a National Historic Site, and a really good one at that. But it's just that I'm sort of getting to the stage where I'm going like, okay, you know, enough is enough. Just do something.
Well, you know,
I don't know
and-
why they wouldn't fix it up 20 years ago. Yeah.
Because they don't feel it applies to them. But when you go into the municipal hall and you see this beautiful display about Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad, and you got the Underground Railroad right up here.
Yeah, that's right. Well, that's
This,
why.
this disgusting mess.
In about 1993, my mom and I, we approached the Historical Society in Cayuga. We were politely told, basically, we're not related to the Streets, the Duncans, you know? And like, my mom was just like, it does make sense, because she would bring Grandy Duncan out here. So with what the facts that my mom knew and people saying different, so you met a resistance. People did not want to discuss. Black people lived here.
I know it's very difficult, and I don't blame you. I'm a genealogist, and I want to know the facts as well. And yes, it's up to us to monitor this and to make sure it goes forward and it's not forgotten. But I like to work together with the Historical Society, with the families, the community, and I think we can get this done. Finally, we can get it done because everyone's on board.
The sad thing is, my mom had the stories, and those stories are now lost. Mom's not here, it's gone. That generation's gone.
30,000, 40,000 blacks came across that border. Each of them a freedom seeker. Each of them with their own individual version and experience on the Underground Railroad. It's not just stones. And that's what a lot of people see, are stones, tombstones. But each one of those cemeteries is a mini archive. You go into a cemetery and you see it right there. You follow the lead. There's your story.
My name is Robin McKee. I'm a local historian here in Hamilton, Ontario. And for the last 20 years, I've been hosting the historical walking tours of the Hamilton Cemetery. I was doing research for the Civil War tour that I do, and I came across the newspaper article in 1891 when the veterans of the Civil War here in Ontario and Hamilton came to the cemetery and they laid flowers on the grave of Nelson Stevens, and it said USCT. And I went, that is the United States Colored Troop. I had found an American Civil War veteran that was from Hamilton who was black. What the cemetery does for me is that it's a place where we bury our loved ones, but it's more than that, because it's a lot of the stones are people you don't even know. But each person that has a stone has a history and a past and a life that they lived in their time. And they did something in their lifetime that left a legacy for us today. The Street Barnes Cemetery in Canfield, I became aware of it probably in the late 1980s. The property owner is my ex-father-in-law, and he's the grandfather of my son, and we still see him. We visited on a regular basis just to make sure that it wasn't being damaged. My son and I would go out there, and we actually cleaned it up and put the fallen limbs around it like a fence, and took photographs. He understood the historical significance, but it didn't matter to him because he didn't want people on his property. I understand the issues of the trespassing and the dangers of people falling and hurting themselves, but at the same time, it was necessary to understand that history was being covered up by nature, and at the same time, you didn't want to throw it out as a black cemetery because back then there was a few issues, and so the idea was, I would say racial issues. With society in general. You would get vandalism, that type of thing. And so, not that it was a secret, it was just not wanting to be known about. And so the idea is that stay away. And it was a good thing to do at the time. Now, with the Black Lives Matters and the idea of Canada being the northern star for the Underground Railway, it is a location that would be on the Underground Railway, even though it wasn't an Underground Railway situation, but at the same time it would be another black interpretation of Canada's history that is basically unknown.
My vision for the cemetery, I happen to be at one of the historical cemeteries up north, up around Collingwood area. I could vision this where I personally wouldn't have a problem coming out here just like I do when I go to Brantford Cemetery, just sit and just peaceful. It's so peaceful, and just think that these are my relatives.
When I found out that I was able to actually see the cemetery, I was ecstatic. I'm with my brother Marin and my sister Aileen, and it's just a wow factor.
I was happy, and I know my sister Bub was gonna scold me because I says, well, I'm just gonna come anyways. We do have Native ancestry in here, and the streets, I'm really interested.
All right, watch out, guys. Here's the fence. There's the fence that was around.
Did it fall down, or?
It was trampled.
I really don't have any feelings right now. I'm just, stunned. And probably when I get home, I'll know how I feel.
Right now I'm full of joy. I had to even bend down and touch it. This is real. This is amazing, There's a lot. I'm again, like Marin, got to go home and reflect on all this because, I don't know. It's here, It's so real.
It's our history. first we need to find out where all the stones are at. As you could see, there's different areas here where you could see pieces sticking up. They have sunk down. So we've got to get them back up again. And I believe this is where the OHS is going to help us with it. I know the county has got people that are responsible for cemeteries, but this is no regular cemetery.
Like other cemeteries in the rural area, you do see like a wrought iron fence around it. I'd like to, see that as well.
I was visualizing it out in the road, a plaque. I'm hoping that this spot could be a spot for anyone to come for reflection.
It was emotional. It was very, very emotional. How could I put it? To know that my grandfather's grandparents are there and that his uncles are there really meant something to me. We knew where our names came from, but my one brother, we didn't really know where his name came from. And to walk into the cemetery and see the headstone for David Street, it just hit me like, wow.
I'm going to give offering to the Creator of tobacco in the 4 directions, and I'm just going to do a little smudge. Creator, heal my mind, heal my spirit, heal my eyes, open my senses, allow me to speak the good path. Come into my heart. Ancestors, thy name is thy healing. Remembrance of thee is my remedy. Nearness to thee is my hope. And thy love is my companion. We can learn from, if you want to say, our mistakes in the past, and make this a beautiful world. And it could start right here.